He was a gentleman who gave a job to a homeless girl and later genuinely fell in love with her. But that girl destroyed his whole business out of her anger. Or maybe out of her revenge. Was it right what she did to him? How could she stay with him when she learned that his fraud had turned her life upside down? Hi, everybody. My name is Lucy. I live in New York but have been in Chicago where I got my master's in finance. My father was a business tycoon. How else could I afford such a prestigious business school? But before I could return to New York, everything was over. His empire was reduced to dust. The fraud he faced led him to commit suicide. I could understand his decision. He was a lonely man with a wife cheating behind his back, and I was away. But I loved him. My mother took no time to return to his ex-lover. She is happy. I'm so glad that he took his life. Otherwise, that lady could have killed him for his money and the other man. I returned to my birthplace, where I had recollections of the past. The happy past. The past was where my father and I had spent time. The parks where he bought me ice creams. The fountain where I posed, and he clicked my pictures. The skyscrapers out here have their charm and attraction. But please, of the smokescreen, it can take your life too, as it took my father's life. I started working with a firm. Links my father had built here helped me find the job instantly. When I entered the cooperative sector, I learned how the fraud affected my father's reputation. I had read articles in the newspaper regarding him, but the ground was harsher. Maybe he was an omen of luck for me. As he passed, life became hell for me. The Wall Street crash of 2008 made me homeless. I was alone like my father. There was no shoulder for me. I started spending my life on the roads. He was dead, but maybe his love was radiating for me. One day, while on the roadside, I heard a person. He was shouting on the phone. I recognized him. He was Mr. Jackson, a business tycoon and a great CEO. He seemed worried about some tax work. His lawyer could have made some big mistakes. I started taking an interest in his conversation. When he was over, I offered him a suggestion regarding the tax. My request worked like advice to him. He was amazed to see a homeless talking about perfection in tax laws. My little analysis of the current shares and the stocks attracted his attention. When I told him about my dad, he became sad. Was he sad, or he just pretended? What was his intention? He told me that he knew my father. Offering his card to me, he left the scene. I started working in his company. Soon I became his chief financing advisor. Others were shocked at how I could make that much success so early. I didn't believe it either. Day by day, I got closer to him. My respect for him was increasing incessantly. Or love. At last, he professed his love and passion for me. I couldn't resist and responded the same way. Now I know everything about him. Or was he so good at keeping his secrets? I was living at his home and planned to get married soon. One day, while I was going through some of his documents for social work, I found something. Something shocking. Something that I should know. He had pictures with my dad. It was expected because both belonged to the same field, and dealings make connections. But the documents I read made my feet cold. He was behind the fraud. He joined hands with Michael, and I framed my dad. I can't tell what I was feeling, or I wasn't feeling anything. My mind was dark and shallow. I pretended to be expected before him, though I was planning something big for him. I made variations so impeccably that his company crashed and he got arrested. He wasn't mad at me when I met him behind the bar. He was calm and told me he had given me a job out of sympathy because he was ashamed of what he did to my dad. He wanted to say everything to me. But before he could tell me, he fell in love with me and feared that the truth would separate us. He didn't want separation, nor do I. What should I do? Should I forgive him? My dad died because of him, but he is ashamed and I know he loves me. Please tell me, guys, should I forgive him? Would you be able to help him?